Hello and welcome to the latest edition of the GUTSY podcast. As always, massive thanks to all the guys watching, commenting, sharing. Keep going. We very much appreciate it, especially your feedback. Some of the feedback's been absolutely phenomenal. And really quite powerful. It's great to know that the messaging and the guests and the chat is making a difference. People are relating to it, they're touched by it, and it's having that positive effect that the GUTSY podcast is all about. So today we've got another fantastic guest. Some of you out there may know her. She's a wee bit famous out there. Insta famous. Are you Insta famous?
I'm not Insta famous.
We've got the wonderful Stefanie Boyle. Welcome to the GUTSY podcast.
Hi.
Hello.
Happy to be here.
We're delighted that you're here.
Good.
Yeah. You said you were nervous, but don't be nervous.
I'm not nervous.
Okay.
No, I absolutely am. I'm really nervous.
No, you're
but
fine.
I'm excited.
Excited to have you here. So, for those of you who maybe not familiar with our Stefanie, you may or may not be aware of her fantastic and inspiring Insta page, Life with a Stoma.
Yeah,
That's pretty good.
Yeah, I like the name.
Yeah,
Life with a Stoma.
Well, does what it says.
Yeah, literally, it's just
right,
Life with a Stoma.
Our Stefanie shares her experience and advice with the world, and it's pretty inspiring stuff. But Stefanie, I've known you for a while, and I don't know how you fit everything in, because you're running this page with over 10,000 people on it. It's a really, really interactive page, so that's takes a bit of time. The content creation of that is almost like a full-time job. You run two jobs. Yep. You've got your community learning and support work, which is absolutely phenomenal. You've got your support work that you do at Celtic Football Club.
Yep.
Enough about that. And
you're at it.
And you're also I don't know how you can be full time at uni and run all this. You're also full time at uni doing was it community education?
Community education, yeah.
Community education. And if that's not enough, you're training to be a personal trainer.
I know. Do you know, see, when you say it out loud, it sounds like so much.
But it is.
It is so much.
So
I don't know how I make it work. I really like being busy. I love being busy.
No shit.
And no shit, Sherlock. I love being busy. I just, do you know what it is, right? See, when I wasn't well, see, before I got my stoma bag and stuff and I was really, really sick, I was the laziest person you would have ever met.
Really?
I swear to God. See me try to get up in the morning to go to school, challenge. It was a task. It was such a chore.
But you were at school about 100 years ago.
Calm down. Don't make me feel old. It was about, when was it? 89, 21, 24, 7 years ago. But moral of the story, right? Yeah. See, when I was not well, everything was taken away from me and I never got the chance to do anything. So I promised myself if I got well again, I would seize every opportunity that I could. And that just so happens to have turned into me doing about a gazillion things, and I don't even know how I've got time to go to the bathroom, but we make it work.
Well, that's a story in itself, I suppose.
Literally.
Well, literally. So, somehow you fit 48 hours into one day. Diagnosed with UC, 7 years ago?
Yeah, it was 6 or 7 years ago. It was end of school, so 2016, 2017.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, we're going to go back to that, and then we'll go into all these wonderful things that you're up to as well, because I mean, all that deserves it. All that deserves a chat, Stefanie. So, I mean, I think what we're all about here at GUTSY is kind of sharing the stories, sharing the pies, sharing the lows, and you've had your fair share of them. So I think we need to go right back to the start.
Okay.
And when did you start feeling, I suppose, unwell? When did you feel something wasn't quite right?
So it was in my last year of high school. I remember it was coming up to my exams. So like prelims and exams were happening. And I remember just feeling a little bit off. I remember just feeling like, I've got a stomach bug. I feel quite sick. I feel unwell. So a few days after I started feeling not well, I'd say in the space of like a week or two, I just started to deteriorate. But at that time, I didn't know what it was. I just thought, okay, I've maybe got sickness and diarrhea bug. Just not feeling right. Ended up going to the toilet loads of times, like more than my normal. I was going to the toilet at this point, I was going about 10 times per day, which was more frequent for me. Somebody that used to go maybe twice every 2 days, right? So I was noticing little subtle changes in my...
Twice every 2 days, once a day?
No. Is it? Is it? No, wait a minute. Twice every 2 days. Right, do you know what? I never passed maths, but you get my story. You get it. I was going a bit more often than what I normally would have.
Okay,
there we go. We'll leave it at that. Jeezy peeps.
We'll not get into
this is an interrogation. I did not sign up for this. I've lost track. Right, so yeah.
You go to the toilet.
Yeah, so I noticed little subtle changes in my daily routine. And then it got to a point where I was being sick every day. I wasn't being able to keep food down. I was losing weight rapidly. And this was all in like my last year of high school. So bearing in mind I had like exams coming up, prelims, couldn't sit my exams, couldn't sit my prelims because I was just too unwell. And then it got to a point where I was supposed to be sitting my driving test. I'll never forget this for as long as I live. I was meant to be sitting my driving test, but every single time I was going out for my driving lessons, I couldn't actually sit in the car because I was starting to feel like I couldn't control, my urgency was just too much, like I couldn't control when I needed to go to the toilet. So I was really, really scared about leaving the house. I was being sick, I was losing weight, I was really, really tired, I was lethargic. I felt like I was in a dream a lot of the time. It was like I was there and I was walking about and getting into a car, but I wasn't really there. It was really weird, like life was just kind of passing me by, and that terrified me when I started driving.
I think that's a thing that to naturally be terrified by, never mind just when you're driving.
Yeah.
Well, when you're driving.
I mean, that's terrifying.
There's obviously quite a lot of danger in that, but just to kind of, you're going around in a haze really, aren't you? Which is quite scary because you've got all these, you've got all these things that happen to you, the sickness, the diarrhea, you're going to the toilet all the time, you've got all these effects and you don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Are you just getting on with it at this point? Are you going to doctors?
I hadn't been to the doctors at this point yet, no.
How long's this been going on?
That was about 2 months. That was first 2 months. The first time I went to the doctors, they told me it was a sickness and diarrhea bug.
Yeah.
So kind of confirmed what I already thought it was. I was like, diarrhea bug.
But you know, taking a bit of a step back, that's a long time for something like that, isn't it?
Yeah, hell of a long time.
Very long time.
I truly believe I should have been diagnosed earlier than what I was.
Unfortunately, that's a very, very common thing.
Yeah. It's just like when you take a step back and you look at that situation for what it was, I see all these subtle changes in my daily routine and I wish they'd have been picked up a bit sooner than what they were. But I was like, can I go back in the past and change it?
Yeah, I mean, hindsight is a wonderful thing, and at the end of the day, if anybody's going to the doctors or anybody's going to a medical professional or listening to their parents or whatever the case is, because you're obviously young at this point. I mean, you're sitting your exams.
Yeah.
That first lot of exams, was that National Fives?
That was my Nat Fives and my Hires.
And your Hires?
Yeah. So in 6 years you can do Nat 5 and Hires together. Yeah, right. 6 year.
Sorry, it's been a long time since I've been at school. Funnily enough, I should know this because of the scholarship. Sorry, I wasn't sure if it was just you were on your Nat 5s and that. Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
I get you. Yeah. Technically, I had symptoms in my 5th year, but never truly picked up on them. But it was 6th year. That was when things really did take a change. I
think what I was kind of trying to allude to there was if you've got in your mind that you've got a sickness bug or whatever it is, sickness and diarrhea, and that's in your opinion confirmed by the doctor, you got to trust that, aren't
100%.
You know, you're going to trust that, but then it starts to go on a bit long, and the effects of that, you know, in the body are not great over a period of time, and then it will start to affect your kind of your mental well-being as well, I would assume.
Yeah.
What happened then? At what point did you go, no, enough is enough here? We need, there's something more at play.
When I realised there was something really wrong was when I started going to the toilet about 30 odd times per day, and I was losing blood in my stool.
Right.
That's when I started going, this is not normal. Like, I've had a sickness and diarrhea bug before. I've never ever lost blood in my stool. I was like, why is there blood coming out of me? Like, that's not right. So I started pushing a bit more for doctor's appointments. I went to my doctor's appointment 2 or 3 times. They told me the same thing. It was a sickness and diarrhea bug, and they kept repetitively telling me that. And they prescribed me drugs like loperamide and like your Buscopan to try and help with the stomach cramps that I was experiencing. None of them helped at all. It kind of got to a point where I'd given up a wee bit in terms of going to the doctor, because I seemed to just be getting the same answers non-stop. And it was actually my family who kind of took a step up and stepped in for me and were pushing for those answers, because I was just sitting in my room. I was scared to leave my bed. I was next to a toilet constantly. I felt ill. I didn't have the energy to get up and go to the toilet, let alone phone the doctors repetitively to get an appointment where they were going to tell me the same answers anyway. But then it got to a point my mum took me up to the GP's appointment, and I was sitting in the waiting room, and I was just, apparently I was just pale. Like, I was just really pale. I just didn't have any energy. And like, I went into the appointment room, and the woman just kind of took one look at me and went, I'm not happy with the colour of your face. I want you to go to A&E. So she like wrote me up a letter and sent me off to A&E. And that's kind of where things started to get... things were recognised a bit more, things were taken a bit more seriously, but there was still a hell of a long way to go from that point onwards.
Yeah, I had to get very serious for it to be taken seriously.
Yeah.
And you would, you know, for me anyway, and listen to our community, would kind of, that early diagnosis is really what everybody within our community is pushing for.
Yeah.
But it's really come down to education across the board for everybody, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you get to A&E, and how did we progress from there?
So I went to A&E. They admitted me to the hospital. They were doing a lot, because at this point I didn't have a diagnosis. I just was losing weight, losing blood in my stool. I was just showing the telltale symptoms, I suppose, the ulcerative colitis and stuff. But they thought it was IBS. They thought it was irritable bowel syndrome, as they always do. So I got given like a course of antibiotics. I got fluids put in me just to try and like perk me up a little bit. And the antibiotics they gave me worked in a way. Like they did stop me from going to the toilet while I was in the hospital. But then the minute I got let out and got home, all my symptoms started again. Yeah. And that was me back at square one. So this was like a repetitive pattern for a long time.
When you say a long time?
About a year. A year. Like it was constantly just like...
So, What is that repetitive pattern?
The repetitive pattern was I was at home, being sick, feeling lethargic, passing blood in my stool, not being able to control, going to the toilet. So I was in the house a lot. I'd go to my GP, they'd give me maybe antibiotics, I'd go home, and then if I felt unwell, I'd go up to A&E myself directly. Sometimes it got to the point where I had to go up myself. They would just give me a course of antibiotics, and then they would send me home. That was the pattern for a long, long time. But they got to a point where they had sent me and referred me to a consultant, the gastroenterologist, because of how repetitive my patterns were and how unwell I was. They were like, we need to try and get to the bottom of this. So they referred me to a gastroenterologist, and I was with my consultant for a long time. I just remember, I don't remember the time frame of being with him, but I just remember constantly going to appointment after appointment after appointment, trying to get to the bottom of what was causing all my symptoms.
And what was happening at those appointments for those maybe unfamiliar, or those that, you know, to educate people what that process was for you? What was happening at those appointments? Because, you know, they just listen to you go, well, not much.
Literally. Well, I would go in and I would wait in the waiting room, okay? And then you would get your bloods taken. That's the first things they would do. They check your inflammatory markers to see where they were sitting. They'd take your weight. And then I'd go into the room with the consultant, and the consultant would ask me how I'd been feeling, if I'd been experiencing any symptoms, how much blood I'd been losing in my stool, if any. Just went over all the symptoms I was experiencing so that he could try and pinpoint what was going on and like what he could potentially give me to help it. So when I went in for my appointment, I think it was after like 2 or 3 appointments, they put me in for a colonoscopy. They had booked in a colonoscopy appointment because that's usually what they do to check to see if you've got ulcerative colitis or Crohn's disease. Like they'll do a scope to check. So I got that booked through my consultant. That's a long story in itself, by the way. I went for 3 colonoscopy. I got 3 tubes stuffed up me.
You liked it that much?
No. No.
Oh, come on, give it again.
I absolutely hated it. Disclaimer, I did not enjoy it. I actually hated it. And people get that done, by the way, without any like drugs to dope them up. How?
Each to their own.
That's brutal. Anywho.
No, listen, there's no, no, nobody's signing up for that for the love. Let's put it that way.
They're really not. If I had the choice, I wouldn't have gotten them. But I'm glad I did, because it gave me my diagnosis of colitis that got me the answers I was looking for a long time.
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head. I think a year you've had these horrendous symptoms.
Yeah.
I'm assuming you're not going to school.
No.
So your exams and all this is out that's kind of out the window.
Well, I wasn't going to school when I was like in the midst of going through all my symptoms, so I had to stop going. But when it came up to my exams, I was trying to go back into school, so I was actually going into school.
Yeah.
But I found that I couldn't sit my exams because the anxiety of thinking, oh my God, what if I need to go to the toilet during an exam and I can't leave, really made me feel uncomfortable. Of course. So it then triggered all my symptoms, and it just made things a hell of a lot worse. Yeah. So I had to get an invigilator. So I had a private invigilator in a separate room to try and help me do my exams.
So you were a VIP?
I was a VIP.
You were a VIP?
Yep, VIP, what can I say? But honest to God,
so you did sit your exams?
I sat some of them, I missed some of them, but I didn't do well. Because my concentration, my focus was not on a piece of paper in an exam, it was trying not to go to the toilet.
Yeah.
It was basically trying not to shit my pants. And I struggled. I really did. Which is gutting, because see when it's GUTSY. But see when, see when I look back, I'm like, oh my God, like I could have done so much better than how I did do. But at the time, that was the best that I could do, because I only had 30% to give, and I gave it 30%. So that was my all at that time.
I find it incredible that you even had 30%, to be honest. You just listen to your story and knowing a little bit about it as well.
Yeah.
You're going through that. Now, not that this is the be all and end all, because I'm a big believer that it's not. How did you do in your exams?
What did I get? It's that long ago. I done well in my music exam.
A minute ago you said it wasn't that long ago.
Yeah, but you know what? You're at it, Derek. Put me on the spot. Right.
I'm kidding.
I done okay. I got a B, and I think I got an A in music. I got a B in music technology. Flunked maths, because that was one of the exams I just was not in the right mindset for. Yeah. English, flunked it. I was in a room, was not for me. And I didn't have my other exams, I don't even know what they were. I couldn't sit because I was too unwell. So I didn't do too well, but I didn't do too great. I think
it's absolutely miraculous that you actually made it.
I'm proud of myself for actually getting up and getting into school and at least trying, because if I had it my way, I would have sat in my bed and not bothered, because honestly, it was more of the mental challenge of getting up and getting into school was harder than the actual exam.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's crazy thinking back to that time.
That's not a surprise at all.
No. But I never knew, I didn't think, was there a scholarship back then when I was in high school? So 2017 I left, so 2016.
No.
I wish there had been something like that back then for the likes of me, which is why I'm so glad there is something there now to support young people in school with IBD.
No, I think you're right.
Yeah.
But do you know something? See for the amount of time that you weren't going to school, you might not have been. You might not have been fit enough to go do the scholarship in itself either.
Oh, I know.
Because sometimes when for those watching, the Catherine McEwan Foundation has a scholarship program. It's now getting into its 6th year, where we support kids of an exam age to get their exam results, and because they miss a lot of school, like Stefanie, and it's really, I mean, we give them the platform. They have to do the work still, so it's them. It's all them, and the results have been absolutely phenomenal. But that was a couple of years before your time.
Yeah.
But quite often, well, that's a lie. Not quite often. We'll that no matter how determined someone is to do something, to go on the scholarship, and they want to do well in their exams, just sometimes they're not fit enough.
100%.
And what that then does is they've got the stress of getting to school in the first place. They've got the stressor.
Yep.
Oh, I'm not going to, if I don't get these exam results, I'm not going to get into uni, or I'm not going to go in this career path, or whatever.
Yep.
Stressed out to the max, which then has an effect on their, their symptoms, and there maybe gives them can help along the way to get a flare or whatever, and then they're saying, oh, but if I go the scholarship program, then that might be the shining light that will support me.
Yeah.
But they can't get to school, and actually attending the scholarship can put them under more pressure.
Aye.
And do you know what? See, at the end of the day, and I think you're a shining example of that, is that it's not the be all and end all.
No.
And there's we spoke to Mark Brown on the podcast a few weeks ago, and he used the phrase, this shall pass.
This too shall pass.
This too shall pass. That was the phrase. And that's so true.
It is.
But the health is the most important thing, and we can't put anybody under pressure. The kids can't put themselves under the pressure, because the most important thing is their health.
Yeah.
And getting out of that flare, or whatever situation they're in. So I mean, we'll go into it a little bit later, what you're up to, the 4 million things, but it passed.
Yeah.
It wasn't easy.
No. And that's just like scraping the surface a wee bit. I went, after my colonoscopies, I finally got the answers I was looking for after 3 attempts. 3?
You never mentioned it.
I'm not over it. It's still, honestly, it's so raw. I can't get over it.
To be honest with you, it's quite a
invasive thing.
Of course it is.
It's
a
brutal. I thought that sounds terrible the way I was going to say that. I was going to say I thought I'd get used to it after the first time, but like, you don't get used to that. You don't get used to it, but it just.
Are you in the right podcast?
I don't know. Am I? I don't have a clue. But colonoscopies.
Okay.
So honestly, the first two that I went through, I wasn't able to go through them at all. That's how inflamed my rectum was. So they tried to go in to see what was there. They literally got a bit of that in, and I was screaming, being like, you need to stop. So I stopped twice. They tried to do it. 2 times round, couldn't get answers. 3rd time round, it was actually my surgeon at the time who had says, we can like put you under anaesthetic because we need to kind of find out what's going on. If they don't go in, they're not going to get the answers. Yeah, they're not going to get the answers. Yeah. But for those 2 colonoscopies that they did do, they were like, we see acute ulcerative colitis, but one of the reports said there was nothing major to worry about. But then when I went under anaesthetic and got the full colon looked at, I had pancreatitis, which is the full, what was it? I forgot the name of it. What's that called? Your gut? Aye, colon. Jesus, mother of mercy. Full colon was I couldn't remember. Full colon was inflamed, so it wasn't like they could go in and snip one bit out and keep the rest. It was just all inflamed. Yeah. But that was because I'd went through such a long time of being undiagnosed that it just got so aggressive, and it had travelled all the way through. So it was at that point I got, the set answers I was looking for. And to go back to your question about the consultations that you go through, after that came back, that was when I was able to start medication. So I started biology, I was going to say, biologic drugs. I tried steroids. I got put on a pain relief meds. And you can think I got put on it. And every so often, you'd go back in for an appointment for them to review how you responded to the treatment. Yeah. Got to a point where I was trying loads of medications and none of them worked. They really didn't. All my symptoms just came back with a vengeance. It was just one thing after the other. And then at one point, I remember I can't remember his name, but I keep saying consultation, consultant. My consultant said to me, he says, are you feeling like you're benefiting for these meds? I went, no, not really. I says, but I'm willing to try. And he says, we're kind of coming to the end of the road with medication. Like, there's not really much else we can try. He says, unless you're willing to wait a while, because there might be new medications that could come out. We just don't know when. And he says, but if I'm being honest, I think you should maybe consider surgery. Have you heard of like a stoma bag? And I was like, no, I'm like not having a stoma. Because
did you know what a stoma was?
I didn't know what a stoma was, but when I found out what a stoma was, I was like, I'm absolutely not having that. Like, I'm not having a bag attached to me for the rest of my life with feces coming out of it. Like, that's disgusting. Like, that was my mentality at the time. That's what I thought. I was like, absolutely not. So I shut it down. And it wasn't until I mean, he told me this in one appointment, and then I went back a few appointments later, and it wasn't until he actually sat me down, because at this point I went in and I was just skin and bone. I was ill. My eyes were like black. I was in a really bad place. I remember my dad came in with me and he sat beside me, and the consultant kind of looked me in the eye and he was like, how have you been? He says, because you don't look very good. He says, listen, he says, I want to admit you here and now, because it was just an outpatient's appointment. I was just supposed to be in and out in about 20 minutes like you normally are. And he says, I really want to admit you now. He says, if things keep going the way that they're going, he says, you're not going to live to see the next year. He says, you really need to consider putting your health first. And it was at that point I realised, I was like, oh my God, I've been putting vanity, how I look, over how I feel.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't think anybody can be blamed for that.
Yeah.
Because I think it's natural. I also think in modern society, you know, that image. I think image, you know, for a long time is important. But I think with the advent of social media and everything that goes with that, and everybody's seen these perfect bodies and beautiful people online, and you know, try to aspire to that, and then, you know, as a young girl, you know, coming into your prime, you're like, whoa.
100%. Yeah. It can be, there's a standard, I think, on women to look a certain way, to be perceived a certain way. And I suppose at that time, I wasn't really thinking about how I felt. I was more concerned about how are people going to see me? How will people perceive me if I've got a bag attached to me? Will I be seen as unattractive? Will I be able to go out and socialise with people the way I normally did before it? Like, there was just a lot to think about, and it was a lot of insecurity on my part as a young woman, because I think a lot of young women are very insecure about themselves, not through no fault of their own, but because of the way the media portrays us to be. Like, if you don't fit a certain image that's put out there for what we look like, you can see yourself as being ugly, you can see yourself as being not worthy, not as valued. It's crap. So at that time, I did feel like that. I was like, I can't get a bag because people are just going to look at me differently. I've got my boyfriend who I was with at that time. He was with me before, during, and after my surgeries. But a part of me did think, I was like, well, what if he doesn't like that? Like, what if he doesn't see me as sexy anymore? Like, can we be intimate? Like, there was all these questions that were just racing again, through my mind.
Of course, because that, you know, if you've been told you've got a lifelong condition.
Yeah.
You've had a bit of you've had a shit time, you know, you know, pardon the pun, but, you know, let's face it, it has been absolutely shite.
Crap.
And then, it's trying to get your brain to function in that, you know, this is me for life. Yeah. I'm not always going to feel this bad, but am I going to be better? Am I going to be this? And I go, oh, by the way, see how bad you've felt for this amount of time. Here's a solution, and it's a stoma bag that you don't know much about.
Yeah.
You need to look at it and you're going, oh, hang on now. That's not for me.
Yeah.
That's not for me.
It was even the same in my diagnosis. Like, when I first heard you've got ulcerative colitis, I did not know what that was. I didn't have a clue.
Why should you?
I know. I was like, I don't know what it is at all. And bless my surgeon, I absolutely loved my surgeon, still do to this day. He came up to my ward at like 9 at night after his shift. Surgeon? Dr. Komolafi. He was phenomenal. And honestly, he's amazing. But he came up to my ward and he gave me a leaflet after I got my diagnosis. He went, do you know what it is? And I was like, no. He went, I'll be up tonight and I'll bring you in your leaflet so you know what it's all about. And I went, okay. And I honestly thought, I was like, this guy's so busy. He's got so many patients. He's in a hospital. He's not going to have time to come and give him a flyer, even though the intention was there. Do you know, he came up to my ward at 9 at night and gave me my flyer. And he came in and he said to me, here's a leaflet. And he sat with me and went through it, sat next to me, went through it with me, explained it all to me in a way that I could understand.
What a legend.
What a legend.
What a legend.
Honestly, I love this guy. If you're listening, legend. Legend. Legend.
You didn't need to shout.
Did I shout? Legend.
He's not down the road.
I'm sorry, I'm just so passionate about him, right? I just think he's amazing.
But do you know what? That's amazing that he's taking that time, and, you know, a lot of the guys in the NHS are absolute legends, and taking the time to do that and explain it, because there's a lot to take in. Not a lot. You know, what's going through your head, it's an absolute whirlwind.
I remember just seeing all these words and all these symptoms, but it was weird because I remember looking at it going, this makes sense. All the symptoms I could see in front of me, I was like, oh my God, I've been experiencing these for like over a year. Like, this is it.
And how when you got the diagnosis, not the stoma, but we're going back a wee bit. When you got that diagnosis, how did you feel? You know, I
won't lie, I felt relieved that there was. Is that bad?
No.
Like, do you know what I mean?
No.
I felt relieved that I finally had answers.
Yeah, but I think when you're, no matter what something is, I think the uncertainty of not knowing causes you even more problems. Yeah. You know, because there's an anxiety around the uncertainty.
Yeah.
But then when you get that, you know, you get the diagnosis, you go, right, okay, we know what it is, and then we can try and plot a path.
Yeah. This is the steps we're going to take. 100%.
Yeah, so I mean, so that is half the battle. But the flip side of that is you're gutted. 100%. Well.
When the bit that made me feel the most upset was when I found out that there was actually no official cure for ulcerative colitis, and that the only cure was a stoma bag. That was hard hitting. That was hard to navigate. And I can't even put into words how it felt hearing it in person, because you go into a bit of shock.
Of course.
You kind of just, you're hearing it and you're like, okay, cool. You don't really take it in. And it wasn't until I went home that night that I really digested that, and I thought, oh my God, like, I'm going to have this condition forever. Or in order for me to have some quality of life back, it'll end up being a surgery.
So, you're you know, and it takes a long time for news like that to sink in, and for anybody to really process. And for some people, they can do it in a few days, a few weeks. Some people never process it ever, and they fight against it, and they rebel. You know, they go into war with their body almost.
100%.
Which is not beneficial. So you're going through all that. How are your family at this point? Because it's really, I find it's really important to talk about for you with your lived experience, but your family get inflammatory bowel disease as well, because they need to support you, and what the fallout of that is. And you know, they're saying their wee girl in their prime who's been sick for ages, and you know, there you go. You know, your diagnosis is a lifelong condition. How are your family with that?
Devastated. They went through my full diagnosis with me. My mum, my dad, my twin sister, my little sister, my boyfriend, my friend, my papa, my gran. Every one of them went through it, because when I was going to my appointments, my dad had to take me. We had to use the mobility van from my mum because I needed a commode in the back seat. That's how severe my colitis was. When I was in the hospital, my mum and dad never left my bedside. Neither did my gran and my papa.
Let's go back a wee bit to what you said there, because you're super fasting without your delivery for a start. Remember, there's people out with Scotland watching this.
Oh, aye.
Oh, remember, you're global.
Oh, I'm global. I'm sensational.
A global sensational.
Global icon.
Easy now. Right. Getting back.
Okay.
Your dad's taking you to the hospital.
Yeah.
In a mobility vehicle.
Yep. So we have a mobility van for my mum.
Right.
So I'm a carer for my mum. She's a wheelchair user. So the mobility van has a ramp at the back of it that the wheel can go on. The wheelchair can go on.
Yeah.
I had to take my mum's wheelchair out of the van, and I had to put a commode in the back seat and sit on that when I was going to my hospital appointments.
Wow.
Because I just had no control over my bowels. I had no control over anything. The pain was excruciating. It just unspeakable, yeah.
I never knew that bit of the story.
Yeah,
I knew your mum. Yeah. I'm talking about the commode in the back. That's hard hitting, to say the least. So tell me more about your family. Tell me more about but how they supported you through that, and what their reaction to that. Because I know that you're kind of like the Waltons. You lot.
Oh, literally, we are so unbelievably close. I used to think other families were weird. And then I realised as I got older, it was actually us that were weird because they weren't as close.
No.
What?
Every family's weird.
Aye, but you know what I mean? But we're weird. I'm not getting into how weird we are, but we're weird.
But I mean, don't do it.
No, do it.
No, I'm not.
Do it.
I'm not.
Do it.
I'm not. Definitely not.
Okay. I'm glad we got there. Jesus.
I said I don't think we have. Right. Sorry. Right.
Family.
Every single family is weird.
Yeah.
In their own way.
They are.
Now, there's different levels of weird on said spectrum, but they've all got for the outside they might be the Waltons, but inside they're all fucked up in their own way.
Aye, we are. We completely are. Do you know?
I'm not saying that you guys have your own place on said spectrum.
Yeah, on said spectrum.
On said spectrum.
More extreme, but it works. It works. My family are the reason I got through what I got through. 100%. My family and my friends. My boyfriend, they are the reason I'm sitting here today because...
Chrissy is the boyfriend.
Chrissy
was there then, still here now.
Still here now.
Chrissy is an absolute legend and glutton for punishment.
That's a sin.
I'm only kidding.
Poor boy.
No, not at all. He is a legend.
He is a legend. Honestly, him and my family and my friends... I cannot thank them enough for their unconditional support through it all. They were at my bedside, every hospital appointment. They were constantly coming up to my house, checking in on me, making sure I was okay. When everybody was going out, doing what teenagers do, going out and celebrating parties or going to like friends' house for sleepovers and stuff, my friends would come to me and they would sit in my room with me because they knew I couldn't leave. I didn't get to go to my prom.
A sleepover, is that what the kids of the modern day would call a gaff?
No, it's a sleepover.
Come on, you're
right,
a certain age. No, right.
No, I would work. A gaff's like a house party. Like there's drink involved.
But you're like 16 at this point.
Exactly, sleepover. So girls come over. Derek, don't even go. Do you know what? You would love to be one of the girlies. Honestly, it's the best. Nail polish, makeup.
How do you know? How do you know I'm no nail polish and makeup? You don't know.
You don't know either. You've never tried it.
How do you know?
I know. If you'd have tried it, we would not be having this conversation. You'd be like, oh my God.
But what's your shade?
Yeah.
What's your shade?
What is your shade?
I like a nice red myself.
I see as more as a sage green guy.
There's definitely no green involved, just so we can.
That was meant.
We can point that out. We can definitely. It's certainly not sage green. Right. Anyway. Right. So listen. We've established Chrissy's a legend.
Chrissy's a legend.
But you've got some big news.
I do. But it's not announced yet.
Oh, is it not?
No.
But by January it might.
Tomorrow.
Well, tomorrow.
Yeah.
Well, it's not going out for ages.
All right, okay, yeah. So me and Chrissy have bought our first house together, and we're homeowners. Celebrations.
How amazing is that?
I know. I'm so excited. I cannot wait to decorate.
Aye.
I'm so excited. I've got my colour scheme sorted. Aye, it's a big achievement. Big achievement.
It's amazing.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations. I'm awfully proud of you.
You should be.
Oh, thanks. It was great that modesty's sweeping at you. So, back but enough about you. Talk about the family. Bored with you.
Jesus, man, mercy.
So your family unit's been brilliant. I mean, listen. Let's face it. You know, your mum needs a lot of help as well. She's a legend in her own right. But then selfishly, you've took all that attention.
Yeah. So, like, honestly, great way to put it.
I'm like, you know,
I know what you mean. So, yeah, that was hard. So, like, my mum and dad were stressed, having to keep up with my hospital appointments, check in with me, make sure I was okay in the house, making my food and things. Little things like my boyfriend had to bath me at one point because I had just no energy to wash myself. Yeah. So that was to me, it felt like a bit of a burden. I felt like a burden, but they never seen it like that. They were looking after their own.
Of course it is.
Just the way I look after my mum, and I don't think anything of it. Do you know what I mean? It's just something you do. It's in you. It's innate. You look after the people you love.
It's not in everybody.
So, well, it should be in everybody.
Yeah, but not everybody's got those traits.
Yeah. Well, I definitely do. And my mum and dad have got those traits, and so does my boyfriend and my sisters. Everybody pulled together. Like, we really did come together during that hard time. We were all looking after my mum at the time, even looking after my dad as well, because my dad was struggling. a wee bit with his mental health because of everything that was going on.
But imagine, like, the kind of, I couldn't imagine. I'm trying to, but I couldn't possibly. The support that you guys are family unit, and your dad is looking after your mum, and that's a colossal job.
Yeah,
it's a colossal responsibility, and it's just doing those get day to day, but also try to keep everybody going
100%.
and keep that the spirit up and all that, and then they've got that additional thing with you going through the process for over a year, or not been getting diagnosed, and all the health battles that comes with, and everybody's worried sick about you, and
I know,
your dad's got a lot on his shoulders because he's like having to. He's the man of the house, the provider for the family, if you want to take it pretty old school. But,
I know what you mean, I hear you.
Do you know what I mean?
Like my mum and my dad are like solid, and my mum and dad have a great relationship. They're partners in crime. Like, and my mum, as much as she has her health condition and her needs, my mum does what she can to support my dad when he needs it. And likewise, he does the same for her. Like we all do. Like we all look after each other. It doesn't matter what's going on in our lives. Like we try our best to look after each other. But my dad definitely is that beacon of light in our house.
Yeah.
He is the most positive guy. He's the funniest guy. Like he just made me laugh every single day through my diagnosis, tell me stupid dad jokes that I thought were horrific.
Whoa, but don't slag the dad jokes.
I'm slagging the dad jokes.
The best jokes.
No, seriously, these were rotten. But
they're supposed to be.
But that made it funny. Do you know what I mean? I was laughing at how bad they were. And it's those little things that I think about now, sitting here today, that I'm so grateful for, because they did just help me get through that challenging time. Do you not think that
but this is just my opinion. I've got a couple.
You've got a few.
I've got a few. See through life.
Yeah.
Like it's the humour that gets you by.
Yeah.
It's that, even if it's self-deprecating or whatever, but it's in the darkest times, it's humour.
100%. It's being able to laugh at things that maybe aren't going your way, or laughing at situations that are just so, to put it bluntly, shit.
Aye, and sometimes ridiculous.
Yeah, you just need to laugh at it. You're like, are you for real?
And if you tell the story out loud, and somebody was to listen to it, they would go, they realise that's not fucking funny. And you're like, but it was to us, and at that moment, and that's what gets you by. Yeah,
like the amount of times I'd just laugh because I'd be feeling I'm going to shit myself, and I'd just be like, oh my God, and I'd laugh about it, but honestly the pain I was in was excruciating. But it's being able to laugh about these things and talk about it and normalise it in your family dynamics, I think that makes a big difference.
Well, it's the old one, isn't it? If you don't laugh, you'll greet.
No, I was just about to say that.
Well,
you bet me to it.
I know, great minds think alike. Well, my wee granny would say, "Full seldom differ."
Full seldom differ. I've not heard that in ages.
No, you don't have time for enough. No, but do you know what? I think it's incredible. That you guys as a family, and still, you sort of this you can see that you can see that, having met some of your family, but also with your online presence and stuff like that, you can see that. You can see that spirit that you guys have got. It's a kind of never say die.
Yeah.
Eye the tiger.
Oh, eye of the tiger.
Eye of the tiger.
Show must go on.
Yeah.
But genuinely, do you know what? My mum and dad always say this, right? And they've told me and my sisters it since we were babies. They're like, it doesn't matter it doesn't matter the cards you're dealt in life. It's how you choose to use them that counts. She was like, there's always going to be somebody out there that's worse off than you. She was like, make the most of the cards that you've got. So, and I love that. Like,
we've filmed another show today, and you're the second person that's used that.
Have I?
Yeah,
it's so exactly. Good though. The analogy's brilliant. Yeah, it's just so good.
It's how you use the card, because you've obviously been dealt a belter, a pure belter, and but look how you're dealing with it. Look how you're taking it on, and it's absolutely fantastic. Tell me this. So we're not quite there. When was the decision? When was the tipping point where you went, do you know what? I need to go with the bag.
So that was the appointment where the consultant told me, he was like, if things keep going the way you're going, you're not going to live here to see the next
year. Or rather, you don't have a choice.
Yeah, he was trying to say it in a, he wasn't, I don't think he was trying to outright say it, but you could tell he was trying to make me read between the lines a wee bit.
Yeah.
But it was actually my dad. So my dad was sitting right beside me in this appointment. And this is when he said to me, we're going to take you into, we're just going to admit you here now, when it was supposed to be an outpatient appointment. When he told me, if things keep going the way that you're going, you're not going to live to see the next year, I just turned around and I looked at my dad's face and my dad was crying.
Well,
my dad was.
You can't really blame him.
No, I can't blame him.
That's a pretty dramatic statement for anybody here.
It's quite real.
Aye, because it's his wee girl.
100%. But it was at that point that I don't know, something just clicked. And I realised, I was like, God, I need to be here. I was like, I need to be here to look after dad. I need to be here to look after mum. I need to be here to look after my sisters. I need to look after me.
You need to be here for yourself.
Yeah. And one of the best quotes I ever heard, it was from my gran. She said to me, if you don't have your health, you've got nothing. And I remember thinking about that in that moment, because I was like, I need to get my health in check so that I can be there to support my dad, support my mum, support my sisters. I realised it's weird how something like that can just make you reflect, and it's like your life just shoots by before your eyes. And I thought, God, I have been choosing how I'm going to look and what other people are going to think about me, rather than how I'm going to think of myself and how I'm going to feel. So I made the decision then. I knew there and then, I was like, I'm going to need this bag.
Well, I don't... Listening to you didn't really have a decision. It was probably, I mean, it sounds like a cliche, but it was very, very serious. It was life or death. Really,
it was life or death.
Because if you didn't do that, it wouldn't have been. But also something that you touched on that's really important is that you need to be the best version of yourself to be the best version to care and love the others around you.
100%.
Because if you're not looking after yourself, then you can't do that. But it's like it's old analogy when a family goes in the plane when they're travelling and they do the safety brief at the start.
Yeah.
What the instruction is basically for the parents. If you're with children, put your mask on first, and then theirs, because you can't look after the kids if they're not looking after themselves, and that's a lesson in life.
Yeah, 100%. But I think sometimes, just as human beings, like we don't think like that. Like, if you're a parent, I would imagine, just be seeing the way my mum and dad are, sometimes you do just put other people before yourself, and you neglect to put yourself first. You feel like you can't, because things are a bit more important in your eyes,
but people
than yourself.
Yeah, but I think there's a real, just now, like people that are maybe into like personal, the risk of using all cliches again, like personal development and and things like that. They're working on themselves. That self-care is no selfish, because if you're the best version of you, then you can be there in body and spirit to be there for your family. So having that level is good. And I know that now that you're very good at that, because a big thing in your life is exercise and going to the gym, and that's your time, and that helps you both physically and mentally, and we'll go into that a little bit later. And I know that for me personally, like that my time in the morning when I train, like for however long that is, if we get an hour in the morning or whatever it is, that helps me both physically and mentally in the preparation for the day. But it sets you up, and that's the kind of time for you.
Yeah, your time.
Yeah, and you can't be there for everybody all the time if you don't look after yourself.
100%.
Definitely no. So the decision's made.
Yep.
What happens next? How long is it till you?
Oh God,
till the procedure.
I can't remember the exact time frame, but I remember being told it was going to be in like a 3-month period. So I can't remember what month it was.
Right.
Well then, I got my first operation in the March. Yeah, would have been the March. So I got my first operation in March. It was like a 3-month. I think it was like 3 months. I had to wait, and like those 3 months were the longest 3 months of my entire life.
Bet you.
So long. The anticipation, the fear, the uncertainty, not knowing, was the procedure going to go well? Like, was it going to go as planned? Like, that was something I was worried about. Was I going to make it? Because it's quite a big procedure. That was running through my head. I was thinking, how am I going to learn to change my bag? Like, how am I going to look at myself in the mirror? And I kept looking at my body in the mirror a lot in my bedroom. Like, whenever I was coming out the shower, I just kind of look at my body, and that's something I never used to do. I used to look at myself and I'd give myself the bulk, if I'm being honest. I'd be like, oh God, I can't look at myself. But it was in those 3 months that I did actually start looking at myself, and I was like, I'm going to miss this. Like, I'm going to miss looking like this. I'm going to miss, like, seeing this bit of my skin. I just started appreciating myself a hell of a lot more in those 3 months, because I knew.
Because you naturally take everything you've got for granted.
100%, yeah.
You know that's your health. Up until now, you take for granted. Your look, you took for granted.
Yeah, everything. It's just, it was a weird 3 months. But you know, like I said, I'm so glad I had my family and like my boyfriend during that time, because I just genuinely don't think I'd have got through it without them. They were so positive. Which
is an incredible thing to do and be for so long, when, let's face it, things aren't great.
I think on the inside, they felt all the anxieties that I felt.
100%, but they didn't show
me that. And I'm glad they didn't, because I think if they'd have showed me that anxiety, it would have scared me even more than how I already felt. I was terrified. Yeah. And I think anybody that's in that position, who's got ulcerative colitis or Crohn's or whatever the situation may be, who's got a planned surgery coming up, because some people get stomas emergency, they don't even know they're getting them. It's just bang, you've got a stoma, how you need to deal with that. Mine was planned, which meant that I was lucky enough that I did have some time to try and prepare for it.
Yeah.
But like, my family is what got me through that. Like, they were so supportive, so positive. When I was feeling insecure about myself, especially my boyfriend, he'd tell me how beautiful I was, how nothing was going to change in terms of how he felt about me or how I was going to look. He says, you're going to have a wee pal for life. That's what he'd say to me, you're going to have a wee bag for life. And he'd hype it up. And I'd be like, oh my God, like, don't say that. Like, it really scared me. But my dad even bought me a wee bag, and he put an S on it for Stefanie. And I says, is that like an S for Stefanie? He went, no, you can put your stoma supplies in there. I went, so is it S for stoma then? And he went, Stefanie Stoma. And I went, well, we need to name my stoma, like, because mum and dad were telling me to name it. And I went, oh, what about Stanley? And then he went, Stanley the stoma. So my wee bag was forever my wee stoma bag. And those wee things and gestures that my mum and dad and my boyfriend and my sister's done helped me so much in the lead up to that surgery. And I needed that reassurance, and I needed their positivity. I needed my dad's really bad jokes, to be honest. He was telling them in the van. He kept winding my mum up. My dad's got such a sick sense of humour sometimes, right?
Yes.
Yeah, you love it, yes. And honest to God, he gave my mum the fear. Like, I'm not even going to say what he said in the car, but honestly.
No, Goni.
No, I'm scared. Right, so when we were driving up, like, when I was getting in for my surgery, my dad would be like, well, if she doesn't make it, we can just like use her room as like a gym. And my mum's sitting there going, don't say that, my baby. And she's crying.
I'm a big believer that when, with a big dark cloud, you need to try and find the silver lining.
Oh, 100%. That's my dad all day, every day. Like, he uses humour as a coping mechanism. And, do you know,
I know somebody else like that.
Aye, same. But no, it's like, but that was the best thing for me at that time, because I learned, even after my surgery, I learned how to make a joke out of like what was happening. I did through my throughout the full process. I did make light of things, even though they were really getting to me. I laughed, and laughing helped me cope with it, even though I didn't realise it at the time.
No, but it's true, and when I say I know somebody like that, I'm talking about myself.
I know you,
because that they like, you know. Laughter is absolutely, and taking the piss out of myself or taking the piss out of a situation is absolutely a coping mechanism that I have. And as I said earlier, this is maybe the thing that gets you by, and it gets you by that situation. Otherwise, it can be, I don't know, 10 times worse or however. But I think, I mean, obviously we're dealing with and talking about some serious, life-changing stuff, life-threatening stuff. And if you've got that, like, negative, like the great thing that you do, a lot of positive energy around you, lots of positivity with your family, with Chrissy, and that positivity, whether you realise it or not, filters through you.
100%.
And how you speak to yourself also.
Yep.
That has an effect on you. You know how if you're speaking positively.
Yeah.
You
I'm a big believer in positive affirmations.
Oh no, I absolutely.
Big believer.
Whereas the flip side of that if you're surrounded by negativity, if you're constantly talking yourself down, if you're constantly saying how bad it is, how shit life is, why me, and almost like I'm a terrible victim here, and all that has a terrible effect as well.
Yeah.
And I think you can see in your story and who you are as a person, having known you for a few years now, that there's a massive level of positivity. Because listen, you cannot blame anybody for not being positive about this stuff.
Oh, 100%.
You know,
I wasn't always positive.
I know that.
Yeah.
And you've got it down.
Like, I was not as positive as I am now. Like, that, my full ulcerative colitis journey, that the stoma surgeries, it was a lot, and it was challenging, and parts of it were hell.
Yeah, remember,
and
you're just a young girl as well, Stefanie.
Exactly, and it's hard to be kind to yourself during those times, because I remember you touched on it earlier on, but it's true, there's so many external things that affect you, and there's external pressure that you then put on yourself, as opposed to just prioritising your well-being and your mental health and saying, do you know what, I need to put myself first and look after myself before I can look after anybody else. Sometimes you forget to do that, and it can be really difficult, and it was for me. I was never kind to myself, if I'm being completely honest. I would always put myself down and put pressure on myself to be there to help mum. I'd be like, I need to be strong. Like, you know, I can manage this. Like, if my mum can get through what she's getting through, I can get through this. And sometimes, as much as that was a positive thing to tell myself, I wasn't allowing myself the time to rest and just do nothing, because I was putting all this pressure on myself. Like, got up and move and try and be normal. I was trying to do normal day-to-day things, like get up and make myself dinner and eat. I was trying to go for a shower. My body was just not having any of it.
I think, so where you are now, what would your advice be to Stefanie then?
The best bit of advice I ever got that I would tell myself, tell my past self, was, life is tough, honey, but so are you. That would be my bit of advice.
So if you were to talk to yourself going through that?
I'd tell her, you'll get through it. I'll say to her, just be kind to yourself. Be patient. Don't feel like you need to rush.
Yeah.
Don't feel like you need to fit a certain criteria. Don't feel like you need to put other people before yourself. Like, prioritise yourself and your well-being, because you'll thank yourself for it later on. Yeah. And you will get through this. Because I didn't think I would.
Yeah, no, and I think that's great advice for anybody that's listening or watching that is going through that as well.
Yeah.
You will get through it.
Yep.
You absolutely will. If you were so that would be the advice that you would give young Stefanie.
Young Steph.
Young Steph. You're still young Steph.
I'm young Steph. How
old are you now?
25 tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
No way. Swear to God.
Is it?
You should know that.
Probably.
Well,
what we need to do is we need to sack the researcher of the show.
Yeah. Sack them.
Sick, man.
Is it not even on there?
No.
That's terrible, that.
Well, I'm surprised you never told me in our pre-planning, to be honest.
Told you yesterday.
Did you?
Aye.
I would have written that down.
You're too busy eating your lolly.
Right, okay, I feel as if I need to explain this.
You do. Sounds so wrong.
Yeah, right, so it wasn't a lolly.
Sorry.
For a start. So I've got a little bit of an addiction. They're probably not healthy.
No, well, moderation.
Not. They're not. I love Valencia orange ice lollies.
They should sponsor you.
Yeah, but the Morrison's ones, because the Morrison's ones are the best ones.
Better
so
than
anybody
M&S.
that was watching that likes a Valencia orange icy, the Morrison's best are the absolute daddies. The Marks and Spencer's ones
daddies
are a pretender to the throne. Okay. There's Lidl ones, the Del Monte ones.
Yeah.
The Del Monte ones, that's your scheme, icy.
I love that.
Which is, brilliant.
Yeah. 10 out of 10.
Going back regular for that.
Yeah.
But the absolute gaffer is And this is surprisingly not sponsored by Morrison Best Valencia Ices.
Not sponsored.
So we had the meeting. We had the Zoom. Currently not sponsored by.
Stay tuned.
Yeah. And in the meeting last night, I had an Ice. So
it did.
Yes. But thanks for that.
Sorry.
Right, you totally broke me there. Broke my where I was going. Right, so we've given you've went back, you're giving advice to young Stefanie.
Yeah.
Would there be advice that you would give to your family? Would there be advice that you would give to Chrissy? That are going through that journey with you?
Oh, at the time?
At the time, aye. Because, listen, they're putting a face on as well to get you by. They've got to be, it's only natural.
I think if I could, I would say to them, things will be okay, things are going to get better.
Yeah.
Like, she's going to get better. And you guys are going to get through this as a family.
And that bond.
Like me and my family, and like I said before, like we're a unit, we're one, and we look after each other. And they show solidarity when it comes to these things. Like, we all come together, we're in it together. My fight's your fight.
I bet when you have a Barney's a family, it's always belters.
Oh, by the way, 10 out of 10.
Aye.
Oh, swear to God, it's the best. It's our house, we call it the Mad House. We could honestly have a TV show. We could have a TV show just with all this stuff that happens in our lives. Like, see the cards that life has dealt us, they've not been the greatest. My mum, my dad, me, my two sisters included. But see the support that we have and see the dynamics in our house. I wish everybody could have it. I wish everybody was as lucky as me to have a family like mine. Like, I'm super, super grateful. So I'd tell the guys are going to get through it, not to worry, not to stress too much, because I'm going to make it and I'm going to come out the other end. And so are they.
Brilliant. Solid advice.
I know, by the way, I feel good.
Post procedure.
Yes.
Talk me through that.
So I woke up in a haze because the other meds I was on.
Well,
literally,
so.
I was out my nut, right? I was out my nut.
Every silver lining.
Yeah, I was sore, obviously, because I'd just been opened up and I had all these cables attached to me, the machines and stuff. It was quite overwhelming, but I saw
you scared?
I was terrified. Terrified. I saw my parents and stuff, which made me feel a bit better. But I was so reluctant to look under the covers. I was terrified to look at my stoma. I just couldn't bring myself to look at it.
Stanley wasn't invited to the party.
Stanley wasn't invited to the party, and he honestly, he was doing my head in a wee bit because he kept making noises, and it was just like you couldn't blank him out. You knew he was there. Yeah. He was making all these noises. He was excited to be here. It was like he was just born. He was excited. He was so excited, and I just wasn't ready for that. Right, I was trying to recover. But no, that was really difficult. But on the flip side, I started to feel the benefits of having the first surgery in that first couple of days, because I no longer had that urgency to go to the toilet, something that I'd constantly been battling. So I thought, oh wow, like okay.
Maybe getting this.
I'm getting on board. Okay, right. But I wasn't quite there. But I was like, okay, I'm getting used to this. And then it was difficult the first few days trying to get up, because they try to get you up as quick as possible so you can start moving about and be mobile, because it aids in your recovery. So I started to get up, but I was in agony and I was walking about. I had the most horrendous jammies on. I can't look at my pictures of myself. It's horrific. I had wee Minnie Mouse jammies, big stockings up to about here.
That was your best clobber.
Oh my God, Derek, don't even. No, it's not. They're horrific.
I've seen you in a night out. It's like that.
Excuse you. Jesus, I mean, you're no wrong, but I don't want to admit it. But honestly, like, the outfits were just horrendous. But I just remember it was because
that's your comfies.
I know, I was in my comfies and I was trying to get better. So I was doing all these things.
Wasn't there a fashion show?
It was their fashion show. But one of the hardest things I think about the recovery was having to actually change my bag and empty it for the very first time.
Yeah.
And learn how to change my bag. I won't lie, it was a lot. It was brutal. I really didn't like it. I went into the toilet and I had a nurse come in with me. And this sounds daft because I know they're there to support you and they're there to help you, but I really didn't like it because I knew I had to empty this bag with a nurse there. And I was like, oh God.
But I think that sounds just natural to me.
So normal.
Because you've been through the biggest thing in your life to date, all the trauma that comes with it, the journey that you've got there. You need to privately get acquainted with Stanley and everything that comes with Stanley and the procedures. And then there's this lovely nurse who just wants the best to support you, that you just want to tell to go away. Go away. Please. Please go away. I'm confident that that's not what you were thinking. But you just want that private moment. But I'm assuming that was rightly or wrongly, it was a girl. Yeah, it was a girl. Yeah. So it was my stoma nurses at the time. They came in with my appliances and like tried to teach me how to change it, but it was more like an embarrassing thing. And you know, I think it's important to touch on that, because a lot of people feel ashamed of feeling embarrassed, like that there's something wrong with them, as if, but nobody else seems to be embarrassed or feel like that was an overwhelming situation to be in. It was. But it is an overwhelming situation. It is overwhelming. It's a lot. And see, the thing is, with what you said there, not only with that situation, it's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to be to have that insecurity, to know. And by the way, everybody else that's went through that is probably the same. Yep, 100%. So outwardly, probably not, and or the showreel that's on social media, because that's what it is. It's the showreel. It's the best bits. But it's like that everybody's had that moment, or those moments, because it's no fine after the first go. And you know, how long did it take you to get used to the process of changing, or just adapting to life with a stoma? A bit of both. So changing the bags came quite quickly. Yeah, I found not easy, because it was quite difficult getting the sizing right and like getting your bags sorted and stuff. That took me about a month or two to get really familiar with. For me to really come to terms with my stoma bag, I think I'm still on that kind of self-love journey. Yeah, like I'm still on that journey. I sometimes have days where I look at Stanley and I'm like, why me? Yeah, why? Yeah, because it's not something you can switch off. No, because it's like you'll have the good days and bad days. 100%, as you quite say, and I think what you said there is really important for people to hear. You're still on that self-love journey. Yeah, it's ongoing. It does. There's no official date that 2 months after your surgery you will feel amazing. You will be caught. Yes, like there's no guide. There's no time frame, but you ride the wave. And I truly believe time is a healer. Time is a healer. At the start, it was raw and it was hard to navigate life with a stoma. Because one of the things I did really struggle with was like looking at myself and seeing this new body. Because that is what it feels like. As a young woman, I felt like I had this new body and I was grieving the loss of my old body. Yeah, and that's something that's really apparent, in lots of the conversations that we have. But it's also something that's really important to speak about. Yeah, you're grieving the loss of your old body. You're grieving the loss of a life that you had previously, and whatever normal is. 100%. What your new normal is, both physically, mentally, life, and I really think speaking about that is so important, because you're not unique in this story. The story's unique to you. Yeah. And the more people, and that's why your Life with a Stoma page is so powerful. Yeah. And such a good piece of work. And we're going to get to that in a bit. Yeah. But it's so that people can see they're not alone in the process, and there is help out there. 100%. And I think, see, at the time when you were going through that, was get your belly out a thing? It was, yeah. Was that camp? But I never heard about it, to be honest with you. You never heard about it? No, I know it was about, because I know about them now. Yeah, of course. And I know how long they've been about, but at the time I never knew anything. Like, I didn't know about Crohn's and Colitis UK. I didn't know about the Catherine McEwan Foundation. I didn't know about anything
until I got my stoma bag and I
but to be
deep
honest,
into the
to
research.
be honest, why would you?
I know.
You know, at the end of the day. No, I'm just, the reason I was asking about Get Your Belly Out is because of the you know, how they came about with the campaign, with you know, the people showing their bags, you know, at the beach and all this kind of stuff. And it still is. I absolutely love it.
Powerful.
You know, it's powerful stuff. It's empowering stuff. You know, it's you know, people at the front saying, "This is me." And you know, even the other week, there was you know, I was in the swimming pool, and there was two people with you know, the stomas in the pool.
Oh,
a guy and a girl.
Right.
A guy and a girl, and I thought, fucking brilliant.
Go you
Good,
guys.
yeah,
I love it.
Totally, because that wouldn't have happened a few years ago, and I think the guys that Get Your Belly Out, and you know I'm big fans of you guys, and big fans of the story. I'm not sure if it would be where it is now if it wasn't for them. Really no. Because even now you can see it, and we'll talk about it a little bit later when we talk about Life with a Stoma. There's some pretty fucking horrible people out there when they see that, you know, and it's like...
You're telling me.
Aye.
Yep.
So, no, I think I was just curious to see if that was part of your journey, but it wasn't at the time.
No, unfortunately not. But it's so nice when you see people showing their stomas and like talking openly about their conditions, because I think that's how we break down the stigma that still exists, unfortunately.
Yeah, but so it has to be normalised.
100%.
Because let's face it, it's normal.
It so is normal, which is why I don't understand why people screw their face up whenever you see the word poo or...
Because it's
do you know what I mean?
Because it's out with their...
100%.
It's out with their knowledge base.
It's our job to normalise it though.
Yeah.
That's our job, Derek.
That's why we're here today.
That is why we're here.
It's out with their knowledge base. They don't understand it. Yeah. Some things that people don't understand, it repels them. Yeah. And very, very sadly, but yeah, I think we're on a good trajectory, most definitely. But it didn't go to plan, did it?
No.
It didn't go to plan.
All that.
All that. And
then just when you think, this is it, boom.
What happened?
Surgery was unsuccessful, first one. So 2 weeks after my surgery, I started getting pains again in my stomach. And I was starting to go to the toilet again and passing blood from my back end, which freaked me out because I thought that wasn't supposed to happen when you have a stoma. Yeah. Yeah, but my colitis had came back with a vengeance, and it travelled to my rectum, so it affected my rectum, so my rectum was then inflamed. And when I went back to my surgeon, they told me the first operation hadn't been successful. The first operation was to give me a temporary stoma bag, so they left my rectum there so that there would have been the possibility of getting it reversed in the future. So it was just ultimately give my bowel a bit of a break for all the inflammation and the ulcers that were there. But then when I went in for the second appointment, because the first operation wasn't successful, he told me that I would need to get a second bag. Like I would need to go for a second operation to have a bag that was going to be permanent.
It was a permanent one. You were hoping for the G pouch?
Yeah, I was hoping to have it reversed at some point. It's a weird one because like a lot of people ask me, like, would you have gotten it reversed if you'd had the option, if you still did? Now I'd like to believe I wouldn't.
Really?
Seriously.
Why?
Because my life has changed for the better since having my stoma bag in ways I never thought.
I know, I mean, it's just total, we're surmising.
Actually.
You know, but how do you know it wouldn't have been if you'd got the reversal?
Do you know what I mean? It's not that I don't think there would have been.
There's a chance it wouldn't have been.
Yep, there is a chance it wouldn't have been. But when I had my second operation, I did feel the benefits that came from that. And I didn't really feel like I needed to be fixed after that. Do you know what I mean? Like, why fix something that's not broken? I didn't need it reversed just so I didn't have a bag attached to me. With that bag, I was able to get my quality of life back. It gave me my life back. I was able to go out with my friends, make memories, something I wasn't given the opportunity to do. So when people ask me, like, would you, if you could, have a reversal? No.
No?
No. Well, I wouldn't be sitting here. I don't know if I'd be sitting here. Like, a big reason why I started my page was because I had the stoma.
You'd definitely be called something different.
Life with a reversal.
Life with
Life with Steph.
Aye. Oh, you probably still have done it. You're loving your own work.
Oh my God. Is this a roast?
Well, listen, you need a wee bit
I
of
know.
crack.
I love you for it.
Crack. So how do you you've been through so much, so much.
Yeah.
And then they say, sorry, pal, they're not successful, and we need to go. We need to get another surgery, and you're going to have a permanent.
Yeah.
What are you thinking? No, I know that on reflection, you're saying
at the time,
great, but you didn't think that at the time.
I remember having that conversation. I came out into my car and I burst out crying. I burst out in tears. I thought, this is never ending. I got into a point way before my first operation where I'd given up. And just when I had that little beacon of hope, I was like, okay, this is the start of something new. I then just kind of got brought back down again. And my granny kept telling me, my papa, things are going to be okay. Like, you just need to see this through to the end. Like, it's okay. Might need another operation, but you'll get through it. And I just didn't know if I could, because my body had already been through so much for the first operation.
I mean, it's like you're constantly getting punched.
It's hard to get back up.
Yeah, and every time you think you're maybe there's a little flash, it's like, no, back you go.
Yeah,
back you go. And
it's tough.
There's absolutely no doubt about it whatsoever. I mean, when you see the looking at the thousands of people that I've met over the years in the inflammatory bowel disease community, and hearing their stories and everything that goes with it, and like, I'm really in awe of them. Their resilience.
Yep.
And their bravery, and you go, how do you get up in the morning? Sometimes, I mean, I don't mean to sound dramatic.
No, it's true.
Literally, there was a woman she put a thing up on social media recently. And I'll probably not get the word. In fact, I definitely won't get the word right. I'm absolute lie. But I hope the sentiment's there, because it really struck me as quite powerful. And it was along the lines of something like, think if a healthy person, day to day, has 3 or 4 days in a row where they feel absolutely horrendous. They want to, they've no energy. They want to go to bed, and they maybe take a few days off their work, and everybody's like, "Are you okay? You okay?" And they'll pant at them. My life is like that every single day, but I'm expected to live normally.
Yeah,
that was powerful. Even though she said it better than me, it was really, really powerful.
And it's so true.
It's like, fuck.
Yeah. It's a hidden, having a stoma is a hidden disability, but it's an illness that nobody can see. So people, sometimes when you've got ulcerative colitis or Crohn's disease, you're trying to navigate your life and do things that you would do every day normally, but you're actually suffering on the inside. That's what it feels like. You're suffering, and you're just trying to just make it through each day one at a time. You're not even thinking about your weeks and your months.
Yeah.
You're thinking about getting up and getting to the end of the day.
And sometimes for some people, they need to learn to take the win. And that win might be getting out of bed.
Up 100%, or making your bed in the morning.
Having a shower.
Yep. Going, being able to go downstairs, get the dog out, and then come back up.
Aye.
Wee things, big one for me was getting dressed in the morning.
Yeah.
That was a huge achievement.
Getting out the Mickey Mouse jammies.
Getting out my Mickey Mouse jammies, 100%. Yep, that was a big achievement. Actually being able to dress yourself. Because it's a privilege that you don't realise is a privilege until it's taken from you.
Yeah.
You don't realise how much a privilege it is to get up out of bed and dress yourself, go out walks, being able to talk to people and see people in the daily, having that privilege of just going, oh, do you want to meet me at the coffee shop?
Yeah, but that's a mindset as well to get into that. And I remember when we had a chat previously when you were doing a video, I think, for Jenny a couple of years ago. And something that you said really hit home with me. And it was when we were talking about your journey with fitness. Yeah. And we spoke about him. You mentioned it earlier on that you were lazy. You didn't do anything.
I done nothing.
Before you couldn't. Before you had colitis and went through this journey with inflammatory bowel disease. You said to me that you realised it was as you said there, a privilege to get up, a privilege to be able to exercise, to move, to do all these things that you've just said. And it really, really hit me. I thought what you said was like super, super powerful. Because it is, because we take it for granted as human beings. You know, you know, when you're healthy, it's like most people don't even think about it.
You don't realise what you've got until it's taken from you.
Yeah, and I love the fact that you kind of embraced it and said, you know, went, do you know what? I've got this privilege in life. And did you think that you'd be maybe given a second chance in some way?
I did, yeah. But that didn't come straight away. Yeah. Like, it didn't come straight away. I was just a bit defeated and deflated and feeling like I was constantly getting punched to the ground and struggling to get back up. But I did, in my head, I knew, I was like, that it's going to be fine. Like, I got through the first one, I can get through the second one. And you know what, actually was a little bit easier the second time round, because the first time round I hadn't had a stoma at all.
Same surgeon?
Same surgery, but it was just, well...
Surgeon?
Oh, surgeon, yeah, of course. Dr. Malafi, nobody else. Wouldn't trust anybody else. But honestly, like, the first one, I didn't have a stoma at all, so I was going into the unknown, didn't know what to expect. Whereas the second one was, the bag's still going to be there, it's just going to be, like, they're going to sew up your rectum and they're going to make it permanent and take the rectum away, I think. I'm not a surgeon, by the way. That's my understanding of it. Do you know what I mean? So it was scary.
We don't need to go into the
we're not getting into the nitty-gritty details because I'll be here all night. But it was genuinely like, it wasn't as scary as the first one, but it was still overwhelming because I didn't know how my body was going to be. Yeah,
because, listen, nobody gets into surgery doing somersaults, you know, and going, it's really fine.
It's that, my way of coping with things is self-talk. I've always been an anxious person. I struggled massively in school with anxiety. I never went to school for a year because of it. So my way of coping with things, like I said, is laughing about stuff, but also talking to myself and trying to tell myself, you know what, you can get through this. Like, you've got this one day at a time. It's always that saying, like, one foot in front of the other. Yeah,
but that's what we were talking about earlier on. It's like positive conversations with yourself, because that you know, whether people realise it or not, though, that positive talk is definitely is absolutely beneficial.
It honestly works wonders. So, like, doing that helped me a lot. It helped prep me for the surgery. But what my granny and my papa, like, and my mum, my dad, my sisters, and my friends, obviously, and my boyfriend were the ones that kind of were prepping me for this surgery.
Do you know what I love?
Oh no, I'm scared.
It kind of makes me laugh at the same time.
Oh no.
See, if you talk about them, you list them all.
I do. I do.
It's like, I can't leave anybody out here.
No, I can't.
If I miss out my papa, he'll be raging.
He'll be raging at me. And if I miss out Chris, he'll be like, why did you not? But this is the kind of dynamics we have. See, if I don't mention their names on this podcast, I will never live it down.
I feel as if at the end of this podcast, we should have a reel with the pictures. Like, do you know that?
Papa, mum, dad.
Do you know that way when you watch a movie and it's a true story?
Yeah.
And you get the actor and then you get the real person. I think we should have the pictures of the guys at the end of this.
Can we make this happen? Can it happen? Let's do it.
I'm sure we can. I'm sure we can. But anyway, back to
I've lost my train of thought.
Oh, good.
Yeah, that was it. So, no, my granny and my papa literally were the ones in my whole family were the ones that were trying to make this process like a bit easier than the first, because they were trying to make me more comfortable, just to say this is the last one, because this is it, this will be the final one.
Yeah.
So they got me like a wee self-care kit done and stuff like that, and they were like planning my calendars. They were like putting in my calendar, you know, 3 days till your surgery or 2 days till your surgery, 1 day. Had to wait just so I didn't forget, because I'm thick. But honestly, it helped because it was something to look forward to in a way. They kind of made it look like it was like something to really look forward to. This is, you're going to get your quality of life back. Like, we're going to change the narrative.
I get that.
We're going to make it positive. So I loved that. Don't get me wrong, it was still difficult, but it kind of made the world a difference. But what really got me my second time round with my second operation was my granny passed away a couple of days before my surgery was meant to happen. So that was really difficult. I went in, honest to God, like, my gran was like a second mum to me. Like, I adored that woman, and I still do. I love her with my heart. But like, that was like the worst thing, because I was already worried about the operation, and then I had this grief on top of me. But I knew my granny wanted me to go through this operation. She had worked her butt off, so did my papa, to get me all my stuff ready for it, in my case, in my bag. Like, my parents did the same thing. And I went into the consultation room. It's kind of like your pre-assessment ward.
Yeah.
Is that what it is? Your pre-assessment ward? Yeah, to go in before you go in for your surgery. And I just remember bawling on my dad's shoulder. Like, I was heartbroken. And I went into the operation. I'm sitting in the bed. They were like measuring me up, and they were like putting a circle around where my stoma was going to be and stuff like that. Even though it was still there, they were just marking it. And you know, it was like a blur, because all I was thinking about was my gran. But in my head, Do you know, as much as it was the worst thing to have happened, it was like a turning point, because in my head, I just thought, I'm going to be okay.
Yeah.
My granny's not going to let anything happen to me. Like, she's not, seriously, like, and it was like this wave. I wouldn't say I'm a religious person. I'm a born and raised Catholic, but my granny was a diehard Catholic. She said prayers constantly. But I do find myself saying prayers when I'm worried about my mum, or like if I'm concerned about myself. And I took my rosary beads with me and I put them in my hand, and I just knew, I was like, I'm going to make it out of this, and this is going to be it for me. Like, my granny's not going to let... My gran's not going to let anything happen to me. She's going to make sure I'm safe. She's going to make sure that this is the operation that's going to make the world of difference to me. It's going to give me my life back, and I can't not go for it, because I know she would have wanted me to go for it. So it gave me that kind of burst of motivation. And my surgeon said to me, "Time when we can postpone this," and I went, "No." I was like, "We're not doing that. We're going through it." I'm glad I went through it, because obviously I'm sitting here today. I'm healthy, and it was the best possible thing that could have happened to me given my circumstances. But both operations posed their own challenges. Do you know, the first time I was worried about having a stoma and navigating my life.
Different challenges.
Yeah, different challenges. The second one was having a permanent stoma, but also adapting to this new life with a permanent stoma, and also without my gran.
Yeah.
But it was completely different.
I am pretty positive that your wee granny will be super proud of you.
Oh, I hope so. She's probably turning in her grave right now because I swore so much on here. She'll be shouting. She'll be, "Stephanie."
Yes, but
Yes.
you've taken up praying by all accounts. So I mean, she'll be proud of that.
I'll say a wee prayer of the night for her.
Say a wee prayer for your granny. That's nice. No, listen, like, I'm sure all your family are, that your wee granny would be super proud of you. But I mean, that's a lot to take in.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You're going through this massive surgery again, for your permanent stoma. Your wee gran's just passed away. It's a lot. So you know, to come out of that is. To go into that and then come out of it, fair play. Okay, so Stanley forever.
Stanley forever.
Stanley forever. Did it take you a bit to get used to that in your mind? See through all this. I mean, something that listening to you and knowing you for a while, outwardly, you're super positive.
Yeah.
Right. You can't be like that all the time.
No.
Nobody is.
No.
Nobody is. What were the you know, the moments of darkness when you were doing, moments of doubt, moments, you know, how were you feeling coming out of that second surgery, and what that
I did feel
like
after. So when I was coming out of my second operation, obviously I was grieving, right? So it was harder to. I don't want to sound like I'm being all positive, because I wasn't all positive, but like, I did feel the benefits of that surgery, because I no longer had the urgency to go to the toilet again. Yeah. So that was great. But I was.
No, but you need to tell it the way that you experienced it.
So that I'm going to try my best, right? So I was so wrapped up in grief. I had to get a day pass to the hospital to go to my granny's funeral, and I had my drains in me and all sorts. Like, it was horrible, right? And I was just in a lot of pain. But when I went home, and as I was adapting to life with a permanent stoma, it was really difficult, because anytime I would put like a dress on, or I'd put like a pair of shorts on, I felt like you could see an outline. Yeah. And it really knocked my confidence. I felt like, oh my God, I can't wear the clothes I used to wear. And I was swollen and stuff like that. And I just felt like, oh, I feel disgusting. Like, I don't feel confident. And as much as I was trying to stay optimistic, and I was trying to be positive and say to myself, "Joe, it's okay, you're going to get used to this, it'll be fine." One of the hardest things that really knocked me was bag leaks. Because when I first got my stoma, my daily and nightly habits changed. So I had to get up 2-3 times a night to empty a bag. And I hate being interrupted in my sleep. Like, it's just, I love my sleep. You
said that really firmly, so we can get that that's a big deal.
It sounds so minor, but it really knocked me. I hated it. I'm waking up, and I woke up and I'd be going into the toilet, and I'd find myself crying, feeling sorry for myself, being like, my boyfriend's sitting sleeping and he can just rest away because he doesn't have a stoma bag, and here I am, I need to go to the toilet and empty my bag, otherwise it's going to leak and I'm going to be covered in faeces. And it was just that self-pity. That happened a lot.
But that's only natural.
It is natural, but that's what I was going through. Do you know what I mean? This was where my brain was working. I was like, I feel sorry for myself. This is crap. Like, I don't feel pain anymore and I can go out. But now I need to worry about, is my bag sealed? Yeah. do I need an extra bag with me? Having to remember to take bag changes with me places.
There's a chapter in Mark Brown's book, Best of You book, who we're going to be working with in 2025, and it's called Victim versus Hero.
Ah, nice.
And it's about that mentality. It's about going through life, not necessarily.
Yeah.
Mark's lives with inflammatory bowel disease, as do his kids. But in fact, I'm going to give you the book to take away.
Do it.
Is Victim versus Hero, and it's about having that mentality, not be that victim mentality and be that hero mentality. But you've got.
What I've got.
You've got.
I try.
But yeah, of course. But listen, it's only natural in life that everybody has their ups and downs.
Yeah.
So you start to go through that process. You start to get used to the routine.
Yep.
So as the routine, like when you started to find your routine that worked for you.
Yeah.
Because everybody's routine's different. Yeah. What works for you is not going to work for everybody.
Not at all.
You need to find your own space.
Yeah.
And your own routine. Is it the same now as it was then?
No.
Does it change all the time?
Changes all the time.
Yeah.
Changes all the time.
What changes all the time?
So.
Apart from the bags.
Yeah, I was going to say the bags.
The bags.
Every second day. No, just like how active Stanley can be. So sometimes if you've eaten or you've been out in a bender and you're drinking and things like that, like the frequency of your output can change. So sometimes you're up 2-3 times a night, sometimes you're up twice a night. Like that can change. My outlook has changed a lot on like my bag and my routine. Like I actually look forward to a bag change now.
Yeah.
It's bizarre. It's so weird. It's like self-care. So see when I'm going for a bath salts, candle, towels, pyjamas, clean bed sheets, a fresh bag change. It's exciting. Sometimes it's the pain of my life, especially when it's like a unexpected bag change and it's disrupting my routine.
So it's almost ceremonial.
Yeah. Fully.
I love that.
I do. I think it's brilliant. So good. Honestly, we scented candle, a bag change, nothing beats it. It's the little things.
Right. I think that's glorious. It's not just the bag change; it's the bag change ceremony.
Yeah,
and it's
a full regime,
and it's that regime of self care.
Yeah,
I think that's magnificent.
And there you go.
Yeah, but I wonder if anybody anybody else has got this.
Let us know.
I
think you'll be surprised. I think there's going to be a lot of people that feel the same way.
Yeah,
100%.
Okay, so for those who have got this far in this episode of GUTSY, we want to hear about your bag changing ceremony because Steph's got one and it's absolutely magnificent. So please share them.
Please do.
Because other people might be able to get a bit of start a ceremony.
Yep.
Or B, they might gain a bit of inspiration. They might want to add to theirs.
Yeah. We can learn from each other.
They might want to
exchange ideas.
Mix it up.
Mix it up.
I love that. So, you told me a story.
Oh God, there's been many.
I know, God, but it's one that I've remembered. You told me a story that there's a big campaign about public toilets, isn't there?
Oh yeah,
and quite rightly so. About accessibility. It's not necessarily a disabled toilet; it's accessible toilet, and not all visibility, not all disabilities are visible, and all the good work that's went into that campaign, and a lot of so many supermarkets getting behind it and all that kind of stuff, and I think see the same people that kind of get disgusted when they see a stoma bag and stuff like that. They're the people that when they see you, for example, getting into an accessible toilet, would be like, what are you doing? You shouldn't be going there. That's the same. They're the same people. They're the same people.
Aye.
I don't care what anybody says. They're the same. Now, you told me a story about going to the pub a night on a night out. I think go and share that with us.
Yeah. So one night I went on a night out with my friends and my boyfriend, and I had to use the disabled toilet because my bag had leaked.
Yeah.
So I went into the disabled toilet. Now I was dressed up. I had my dress on, my hair was done, my eyelashes on, my high heels on. Like I was full attire. I was on a night out, right? I go into the toilet. I'm struggling to get my bag to stick. I'm a bit drunk. I wasn't steaming. I'm just a bit tipsy, right? So I went back out, got my boyfriend to come in with me, and I asked my boyfriend to put his hand like on my bag so he could stick. So he put his hand in my bag and then he left. I says, I don't need you anymore, but thank you very much. I was like, on you go.
Off you pop, Chrissy.
Off you pop.
Your work
thank
here
you
is
very
done.
much. See you later. So there's me standing, like I'm trying to like fix my bag, and then all of a sudden, like I felt like it was a knock at the door, and when I opened the door, I was confronted with a member of staff, and they said to me they were going to need to ask me to leave the premises because they can't have people taking drugs in a family establishment. And I was like, not that I need to explain myself to you, but I've got a stoma, I've got a hidden disability, I was changing my bag. I says, I want to speak to your manager. So the manager got involved and they were just a bit like, oh, I'm very sorry, but you need to understand where we're coming from. This is a family establishment. And a part of me was like, no, I don't need to understand where you're coming from, because that was humiliating. Like, and you know, me being me, to prove I had a stoma bag, there's me whapping up my dress in front of the full squad. But it was...
You didn't go that high.
I fully did, Derek. I don't know how high it went, but it was pretty high, right? I didn't care.
Remember, you had a few drinks in
I had a few drinks in me, right? I'm actually cringing at it now. But it was just bizarre to me that they just saw a young girl going into a toilet thinking she was taking drugs because she was younger on a night out. And it was, honest to God, that and that's the stuff that people are faced with still, and it's sad.
Yeah, we definitely need to, we need to educate people in that not everybody that's spending time or somebody getting at the lavies that is on the drugs.
Aye, is that all about?
There's a reason.
Some
for
are
that.
just.
No, I think it's horrendous. But what I think's horrendous about that story is the manager tried to justify it.
Aye.
Instead of going, whoa, we've
overstepped the mark
here.
here.
We've made a big mistake here. We've made a big mistake here. And
aye.
So,
And they had the sign on the door.
Yeah.
That accessible sign. Yeah. Not all disabilities are visible. I was like, so practice what you preach. Like, if you've got a sign that says that, you should understand it.
But there's a difference between having the sign on the door and actually understanding what it means.
Exactly.
That's the difference.
Two different things.
So for me, that workplace have done a magnificent thing and putting that in there.
Yeah.
However, what they haven't done is educate their staff
on what that means,
on what it actually means.
What are hidden disabilities? Yeah. How do they affect people's lives?
How do we navigate those waters when there's an instance like yours? Well, hopefully it's never happened again, and hopefully it will never happen soon.
Nope. I hope it doesn't happen again.
Do you know, we probably want to hear from anybody that's had stories like that as well, because I mean, I think that has to be highlighted, because it's ignorance.
Yeah,
for me it really is ignorance. So if anybody's got stories that they want to share, we want to hear, we want to highlight that, we want to make sure that people understand that,
yeah.
No, everybody's in that lavvy taking the gear.
No, they're not in that lavvy taking the gear. Honest to God, it's
and the place should not condone that behaviour.
No, they should not. That's the sort of stuff you should be worried about. Not wee Stefanie, who's trying to empty her stoma bag in peace.
I know, half pished.
Aye, bit more than half, but it's fine.
Okay. Now, I want to go into your love affair with fitness now.
Okay.
Because you are super passionate about that. Now, we touched on earlier on about, how it's a privilege that you can actually move and how you can do this and how that journey's been. So tell us about it.
Okay. So I used to hate fitness. Disclaimer.
Disclaimer.
I used to hate fitness. I hated getting up at my bed. You could not get me to take part in PE. It was horrific. I just hated it. But when I was going through my colitis journey, I wasn't able to be active whatsoever. I wasn't able to go out to walk. I struggled just to do the basics, like dressing myself.
Yeah.
And it was during that time when I was watching little ads on like my phone, and it was like people at the gym and being active and going walks and just doing basic things. I thought I'd give in to do that right now, because I just can't do it. And it was at that moment I kind of said to myself, if I did say if I get better, the mindset should have been when. By the time it wasn't. But I did promise myself, if I ever got a chance to have a second shot again at life and to be active and, have a quality of life back, then I would do everything in my power to make sure I was the healthiest and happiest version of myself. And that's still something that I live by today. Like I've kept that promise to myself. Not a day goes by that I don't try to be healthy and I don't try to move my body, because again, it's a privilege to be able to move.
Yeah.
And that's something I think about consistently. So going to the gym was something I started doing after I was fit enough, after my surgeries. It was a while. It was a good few months before I was even able to step foot in a gym. But when I started going to the gym, I started like making it it was like a self-care thing again. I love self-care, right? I'd make a playlist on my phone of all my favourite songs. I'd buy a nice outfit and I'd go into the gym and I'd just walk on the treadmill and listen to my music. And I'd do that for 20 minutes. And that was like my go-to at the time. And from there on out, I just started building it up and getting comfortable in a gym environment, started doing body-weighted lifting, then I did weightlifting, and then I just kind of started doing loads of cardio exercises and just fell in love with fitness. And it was
hitting the bar in a different way.
Hitting the bar in a different way. Do you know, one of my favourite quotes, and it's by Honor Active, actually it's on a lot of my clothes, is raising the bar to lift my life.
Nice. And
it's like my favourite saying, and it's so true, because that's what fitness was for me. Fitness was an escape, and fitness is what I use in my day-to-day life now to cope and channel everything that I have been through into something positive and productive, because I don't think you ever really got over the trauma having colitis or Crohn's or going through a surgery like the ones I've been through, but I think you just learn to live with it and, you know, accept it and channel into something that you can make your own.
But it's
like taking control back, essentially.
Yeah, definitely. But it's also, I mean, you said a word there that for me stands out through all the positive journeys that you hear, and it's accepting where you are, accepting what's happened, and accepting that you can be what you want to be. It might be a different path.
Might take time.
But it's accepting to move forward. And for me, that's a pivotal moment, that acceptance, because nobody's saying it'll not be it'll not be a roller coaster.
No, of course.
But it's going back to your making the most of the card that you've dealt, and it's a tough hand. But no, it's really to be really admired, I think, what you're doing there. So with that, how then, when did Life with a Stoma come about? Because when, after you've got Stanley Forever.
Stanley.
One wee Stan.
One Stan.
There's somebody else with a Stanley. Is Bethany?
Bethany's Stoma's called Stanley as well. See, the day I found that out, I went, oh my God, Bethany.
I actually seen that and I went, I'm sure that's trademarked elsewhere. So the Life with a Stoma page, which has exploded.
Yeah.
So how long have you had Life with a Stoma?
Oh my God, I should know that. About, when did I get my diagnosis? 2000, I think 2020. 2020?
I don't know why you're asking me. You should have set it up.
Coming up 5 years, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, my brain's terrible, but yeah, 5 years.
But 5 years.
5 years.
Now, Now, for those who aren't on it, you should be. You should follow Stefanie, A Life with a Stoma, on the Insta, on the gram. On the gram. And it's pretty powerful stuff, because what I like about it is it's really kind of mixed.
Yeah.
You're doing your fitness stuff, showing people that you can still move with stoma. Yeah. You're sharing lots of information, just sharing lots of stuff that's trials and challenges, which is really important. I mean, it's not all glam and look at me. I can, I can squat 100k.
I know.
Do you know what I mean? It's not that, which is absolutely
amazing.
Phenomenal, by the way. But it's not just the show reel.
No,
you show the down stuff as well, and your honesty really comes through that. And I think that's part of the reason why you've been so successful.
Oh, thank you. I genuinely, like, the whole purpose behind the page was to try and just raise awareness of IBD, because when I was suffering and going through my diagnosis, like, I didn't have anything to turn to, and I never saw. I'm not saying there wasn't any out there, because there was, but I just couldn't find anybody.
Yeah, but it doesn't surprise me what you're saying, because even if I look at the Catherine McEwan Foundation, our content is still, we're getting better at it.
Yeah.
Well, definitely, but you know, it's not that brilliant. It's not. Even if you look at how social media has grown and where that is, you know, within that period, it's night and day as well.
Aye.
So you know, it's no surprise.
Yeah.
But the thing is, you're a young girl, early. No, you're not even early.
No.
At this point, you're late.
I was I was
teens.
18, 17, 18.
But what we've established today is that none of us can count. This is clear.
This is clear.
Yeah. Is anybody? Is you still get arithmetic classes? I think we need them.
I flunked maths.
But so did I. No, so it's.
Oh God.
No, I'm a standard grades. Standard grades when I went to school. I got
Did you?
Maths. Aye.
Check you out.
Check me. I didn't get my higher, but
It does surprise me.
I know. So, sorry, I was thinking about maths here. It's not just. You've totally made me lose my.
Sorry, listen. That's been me this full time. You've just
Sick.
been sidetracked about 10 times.
You'll not be back. You'll not be back. Right, wait. Right, come on. Reverse. Where was I?
You were talking about.
I was talking about your Life with Stoma page.
Yes.
And it wasn't just the show reels.
Yeah.
It wasn't just the good bits. And I think that's that. I'm getting there.
You're getting
that
there.
was why. Well, thanks very much. That's kind of you. That's why it's so successful.
Yeah.
Because it's really relatable. That's where we were.
Yeah.
There was nothing for a young girl your age to relate to online.
Yes.
My God, we got there eventually.
We got there eventually. Jesus.
That was it.
Yeah.
That was it.
So there was absolutely nothing that I could find. And that was quite challenging because it's really isolating. I felt dead alone. I was like, there's nobody else in the world that's going through this bar me. I never knew anybody with colitis, had never heard of such a thing. I thought, God, I must be one in a million here. Unbeknown to me at the time that there's actually a lot more people going through it, but people are maybe suffering in silence and not talking openly about it. But after my diagnosis, it was my friends and my family that actually said to me, they were like, Stefanie, why don't you share your story and be the person that you never had? And at the first I was like, no, I'm not doing that. Like, nobody's got to be interested in listening.
That's a lovely turn of phrase, but isn't it? Be the person that you never had.
Be the person that you never had.
I like that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And you know, that's what it was. It was just me building that confidence up. Because initially I was like, oh my God, nobody's going to listen to Stefanie. Like, who's going to care about me? We Stefanie for the scheme. Like, they're not going to be interested in her life. But then after some convincing from my family and friends, I thought, you know what, this could actually be a good thing. So I started up my little Instagram page called Life with Stoma. And the whole purpose behind the page was just for me to raise awareness of IBD, conditions like Crohn's disease, colitis, and to try and normalise the conditions a little bit more, normalise stoma bags and give tips and advice to people who were maybe going through the same situation themselves.
Yeah.
Before I knew it, honestly, like the page, when I first started it, I wasn't ever really focused on how many people were following. I was just focused on trying to reach people who needed my help.
But I think that's the best way of doing it, because I think if you look at guys who've been particularly successful on through social media channels, they would say, like maybe that guy like James Smith.
James Smith.
Do you know? Have you not seen James Smith?
Is he a
before?
comedian? No.
I would say he is quite funny, to be honest.
I'm scared.
He's got quite good crack. He's a personal trainer.
James Smith.
He's a personal trainer.
James Smith. Yeah, I've seen James Smith. Yeah, who am I thinking? Who's the Smith guy? He's a Scouser and he's a comedian.
I have no clue what you're talking about.
Paul Smith.
Paul Smith.
Is it Paul? Oh, I don't know. But I know who James Smith is. He's lovely.
Right. So I'm sure that I've seen some content with him, because he's really kind of open in how he does it. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that he said, because his content's I think's great, was that not to be focused on the amount of likes and the amount of follows or whatever, but to get good strong content across. And you were doing that
100%, because I think a lot of the time, especially on social media, some people look for validation through followers and their likes to show or prove to themselves that their content's worthy, and you know they should be doing it. And whereas for me, it was always, I know how I felt in my situation. I know there's going to be people out there that are also going to feel the same. There's probably going to be a lot of young women as well who are going through this, who feel alone. I was like, I want to make sure they know that they've got somebody that they can turn to and talk to. And that was hopefully going to be me. Before I knew it, honestly, like I had so many people messaging me from all over the world, people saying I've got Crohn's disease, I've got colitis, I've got a stoma, they're asking me relationship advice or asking me advice about stoma bag supplies and suppliers and stuff. Like, it just grew arms and legs. And, you know, it's became my little diary. It's my little journal. So rather than, I do write things down in a little diary, but essentially like my pages where I share everything. That's my way of dealing with everything as well that I've been through, is get everything on there.
So you talk quite a lot about self-care.
Yep.
And a lot of people would say that they're having a journal as part of their self-care routine.
Yeah.
Would you say that your life with stoma is part of your self-care?
100%.
Would you say that it is in some way a therapy for you?
It is 100% a therapy. And, you know, I could not have gotten to where I am, obviously without my friends and my family and my boyfriend, but also... I've done it again! and my papa.
and my gran and my papa and my dogs and my...
Oh, my dogs! I forgot them.
Oh my God!
That's terrible.
Oh, they're going to have left the house when you come.
Jesus!
Oh my God!
We got there. I know. I just noticed when I done it.
Right,
I was
oh
like,
my God!
Papa,
we forgot somebody
right,
off the list.
the full family. We know who that consists of, right? All of them. But do you know who I am so thankful for? Every single person on my Instagram page. Every single person that's taken time to message me, who's listened to me when I've needed help. Not only am I helping people on my Instagram page, but they're also helping me, and I don't even think they realise it.
Yeah, but that's the other thing that I think makes you real, not just a social media person, and the page is you show your vulnerability.
Yeah.
Because again, it's not the show real, because there's loads of pages online now. You know, there's that are sharing something within our inflammatory bowel disease community, and other easy for me to say, other areas. Got there eventually, and it's like, all right, come on, you can't be that glam all the time.
Oh, I know.
And I'm talking about the guys.
I know what you mean.
And it's like,
where's the rawness?
That's not real. That's not raw. That's not your life.
Yeah.
And that is coming back to something that we spoke about really early on. It's like you're seeing people that are going through such trauma and such challenges, and they're aspiring to be something that's fucking impossible.
Yeah.
Because see that person that's shown that the Hollywood side of their life. That's a tiny snapshot.
100%.
It's not real.
They're showing some
wrong.
people only show their highlights.
That's what it is.
And they don't show their lowlights.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's important that you find the balance between the two. I understand and appreciate there's certain things that you don't want to share. There's certain things you don't want to share at all. Fair enough. Do you know what I mean? There's things we want to keep personal. But I think one of the great things about my page is the fact that so many people feel able to be so vulnerable and share with each other, and, you know... Yeah,
but you've created the environment.
I've created that environment for them, but they've also contributed to that, and it couldn't be what it is without them. And you know, one of the things, I love it so much, see, whenever we're on, when people message me or we're commenting on like posts and stuff, people share their ideas and people are learning from their ideas, going, oh, I never thought of that, or I didn't know these suppliers were here. People from all over the world, and they're networking. And that's all on a page, and I'm like, that's what I wanted.
That's the beauty of it. It's because you know, like, these conditions are so isolating, but if you're creating that, if you're helping create a community and bringing people together, and also it's a safe space where they can be vulnerable and ask questions and share and, you know, be there for each other. No, I really, really congratulate you on it. I think it's brilliant.
Thank you.
I think it's really good, and you know, as a role model to the inflammatory bowel disease world, and but I mean, you know, would that be right in saying it's majority? Is it a lot of women on the page in the main, or is that a fair mix? Or what?
Mix,
really?
Yeah, it's like a total mix. Don't think I couldn't tell if it's more women than men, but I know there's a good good mix.
But you can go and look.
Do you want me to look?
Not
you
right now.
Stole my phone, so I can't look.
But there's no phones in the studio, Steph.
Okay.
We're trying to get the most out of this.
Okay, Derek.
But when we leave here, we will go and check your stats.
Let's check my stats.
We'll check your stats. Question: with such success online that you've got, and that empowering, I bet you get loads of trolls.
Oh, hundreds. Yep.
How do you deal with the trolls?
So
do you blank them? Do you block them?
I block some. Some I've blocked. I used to react.
Yeah.
Won't lie. I used to react. I used to like get on the messages and be like, who you talk to? Like really get raging. Do you know what I mean?
You're getting it.
You're getting it. And I used to really impulsively just react. And then I realised like over time, I was like, do you know what? This page is much bigger than me.
Yeah.
It's much bigger than me. And, you know, you need to take the good with the bad because people do, whether I agree with it or not, people have got the right to share their opinions. And do you know?
I don't necessarily agree with that.
Do you know what I mean? But like they've got the right to share their opinions on something that I've posted because they can comment on that. Right?
You can,
that's why some of them don't get blocked because it's like people just there's going to be things that I agree with that they don't.
But there's an opinion and then there's trolling.
There's trolling and there's opinions.
Yeah,
so you get opinions that don't align with yours, which is fine, right?
Yeah,
You're
totally.
like, cool, we'll agree to disagree, that's fine. And then you get the messages, the ones I've had before is, you don't actually have a bag, you look too masculine, why would you go to the gym?
Got the guns,
Right?
mate.
Get the guns. Gains. But honestly, like, this is the stuff that I face. I've had people say you don't actually have a disability, you don't have a stoma bag, why are you lying? Because sometimes when you record yourself, the camera can flip. So my stoma's on my right hand side, my ileostomy, but then sometimes it looks like it's on my left and they're going to swap them sides. So there's people that pick up on these nitty gritty things and I'm sat there going, are you joking? But the most annoying thing I think I've ever experienced on my page is people trying to tell me ways in which I could have prevented having surgery if I'd have just done herbal medication, if I'd have just eaten a bit better. I get that all the time. And now the way I deal with these comments is I actually leave them there. I used to delete them. Just
you comment on them?
Don't comment on them. I'll leave them there. But sometimes what I'll do is I'll take a screenshot and I'll put it on my story. And then I'll say to people, in a world where you can vent, just be kind. Or sometimes I'll have a wee, like a snarky comment. I'll be like, wow, should have thought of that.
Fair enough.
Do you know what I mean?
All right, I could have done it all
could
the
have just
time,
ate better. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Like, it's as easy as that.
Yeah.
I could have avoided surgery if I'd just ate better.
There's one
amazing.
There's one online just now that obviously in my line of work I get loads of stuff for inflammatory bowel disease kicking about, and there's it's a video of some guy and it's for diet. I cured my Crohn's.
Oh, I know who it is.
Oh, fuck off, mate. Do you know what I mean?
I made a response video to that on my Instagram page in the heat of the moment. I was so angry.
Ever in the heat of the moment.
No, I know. We've learned from mistakes, but that's what I'm saying. Like, I used to be very impulsive and I would just reply to things, and now I've learned to kind of just take a step back and go, do you know what? I know who I am and I know what I'm about and I know why I do what I do. And that's all I need to know. I don't need your validation. I don't need other people to tell me that what I'm doing is right and that I need to do it. I want to do it because I know that it matters to the people that follow my page, to the people that I speak to day in and day out, and that's enough for me.
And your mum and your dad and your dog and your sister.
And my dog and my papa and my dad and my dad. That's our theme.
I know. Could somebody remix that?
By the way.
So, right. What is the future for our Stefanie? Because you've got what you do just now. You've got a few walks of life to go down there.
I know.
So, do you know what I love? I'm going to jump onto this. You're training to be a personal trainer. And what's the guy's name that's training you?
So the person that made it possible is called Darren. Darren is a man who kindly reached out to me after he's seen my story for the Catherine McEwan Foundation, and he, I want to say facilitates, he facilitates personal training qualifications, and he kindly offered to put me through mine because he thinks I was very brave and inspiring to share my story and thinks that I could make a big difference.
So I know that. I think,
so very grateful.
Was that this time last year?
This time last year,
because it was a story that went out for Crohn's Colitis Awareness Week, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Right, which is next week.
Next week.
Which is before this will go out. But anyway. but what my point is, and so for Darren, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Darren.
Yeah, seriously.
Because you've shared your story, and some people might not agree that it's brave doing that. I think it is. I think it's phenomenally brave sharing your story. You know, with anybody who goes through any trauma, and it's, I'm biased, so especially our guys, and for somebody to connect with that and know that was part of your dream, and then to facilitate that.
I know.
You're pursuing that personal trainer because fitness
genuinely
is so important.
Just took the kindness of his heart. And you know, he's so down to earth, he's so lovely.
I think that's amazing.
And I made a wee girl's dreams come true.
Check you. You're not a wee girl anymore.
I know I'm a big girl, but
but that's only one aspect.
Yeah.
You're at uni. What are you doing at uni?
Community education. I'm doing an honours degree in community education. Which
means, for people that are watching, what is that?
Right, so community education's it can come under youth work, adult learning, family learning. Essentially, it's informal education. So it's
so that can take you down a career path that's very, very fitting with you as a person to give back.
Yeah.
To support others, which is
I want to work with young people. So right now I'm a youth worker, but I'm hoping to become a CLD worker where I can plan.
Well, you need to explain what that is.
Right, so I say a community learning and development worker.
Right.
So my job right now is a youth worker. Right, backstory. I work with young people. My job is to provide learning opportunities for them in an informal way, and to create spaces for them so that they can thrive and reach their full potential.
Now, I was lucky enough to come and speak to some of these kids a couple of years ago, weren't I?
How did you find it?
A lovely bunch. I thought they were great.
They're so good.
Brilliant.
They're brilliant, honestly.
Absolutely brilliant.
Firecrackers. That's what I call them. They're brilliant. So yeah, I hopefully want to get to a point where I can be in more senior management positions.
Of course.
Which is why I'm doing my degree. It's too much to go into. I'm not a social worker, I'm not a teacher, I'm the middle person. There you go. That's it.
I just think it's really interesting for the people watching and listening that you've been through so much, but even your career path is selfless. You know, you want to help people, and that's not for everybody.
Yeah,
and it's and it's really, really commendable. Unfortunately, part of this is working with Celtic.
Oh my God, Derek! Do you know what, Derek?
I'm only kidding.
You had to get your wee bit in. Do you know what?
It wouldn't be me, but you're doing some youth work there as well.
It's about the kids. It's not youth work. I'm an assistant player wellbeing officer for the Pro Youth Academy players. So I'm in the safeguarding team. So my job is to make sure that the young people are safe, that they've got one-to-one support if they need somebody to talk to. Maybe there's external factors out with football that are affecting their ability to train. So my job is then to intervene and try and relay that back to coaches to try and find the best ways to support our players. But ultimately, it's just to make sure that all the kids are safe, and that coaches are modelling positive language around them, positive behaviour, and that they're able to deal with situations when they come up.
Phenomenal.
They are the most talented young players you will ever see. Honestly, phenomenal. Especially the under-8s.
Huh?
Insane.
Well, that's disappointing.
It's insane.
That's disappointing.
Don't even go there. It's about the young people.
Yeah.
God, so now we know that Derek is all for himself.
It's not for me.
I know. We love young people.
No,
we do.
Good for you. Okay, we're going to finish off with a quick fire.
Oh, no. Right. I'm ready.
The quick fire.
No, I'm not.
Yeah, of course you are.
Okay.
Top 3 tips for living with inflammatory bowel disease.
Top 3 tips?
Yeah.
Be kind to yourself. Talk positively to yourself. And ask for help when you need it.
Brilliant. Top 3 tips. Living life with a stoma.
Always carry extra bag changes with you wherever you go. Drink plenty of water. Stay hydrated. And embrace your bag, because it's mind over matter. It's a mentality.
Brilliant.
By the way, I was so proud of that.
Yeah, I know.
I think I did quite well.
I think you must have been checking the notes.
No, I didn't. I swear I didn't.
Because you've rattled them off too well.
Yeah, because I felt under pressure.
3 things that have annoyed you on your journey.
Getting woke up out my bed at night and woke up out my sleep. Bag leaks and trolls. Trolls on socials.
3 things that you love on the journey.
On my journey.
Apart from Chrissy and my family.
Didn't even go there. My papa, my
papa, my gran and my dogs. My neighbour Ronnie.
My neighbour, my Auntie Moira. 3 things that I've loved. I've loved my Instagram page and the community of people that it's attracted. I love how much more confident I've become in myself, and I love how I've been able to appreciate the little things a lot more than I did before I had my surgery. Yeah.
Brilliant. Stefanie, that was phenomenal. I absolutely, we've been here for ages. You know,
oh my God.
Birthday. And it's your birthday tomorrow.
It's my birthday tomorrow.
So, first of all, happy birthday for tomorrow.
Thank you.
When it comes. I'm sure we'll see it splattered all over social media. We'll see the fireworks and all that kind of stuff.
My big Costco
honestly,
cake.
It's thank you for sharing this. I think you're an absolutely inspiring person. I love your attitude to life, having been through so much that nobody should go through. But unfortunately, people do. But the way that you've approached it, the way that you've come at it, the way that you're giving back, even your career paths about giving back is absolutely inspiring. Thanks for coming on, GUTSY, and if you talk nice, we might have you back.
Oh, thank you.
In all seriousness, no, seriously, thank you so much.
No, but thank you too. Because you know what I didn't get to do? I didn't get to say to you how much I appreciate you giving me an opportunity to raise more awareness with the foundation, because honestly the charity is probably one of the best things that's happened to me since my diagnosis as well, because not only have I had a chance to meet other people who have been through this themselves, but I've met a group of friends that are also ambassadors.
Oh, I never even spoke about them.
That's
I meant to
terrible.
speak about them. I meant to speak about them. But usually, like sorry for anybody that's watching through the Catherine McEwan Foundation, Stefanie has made friends with Brandon Duffy, who's been on the show, Kieran Murphy, who's coming on, and they've all got stomas just by coincidence. But you have turned into like the Three Musketeers.
They're like a posse. I love it. A wee posse. Oh, it's so nice. But honest to God, it's the first time I've ever had a group of friends who know and have lived through what I have. And they've all got their own individual stories, but it's so nice to have people that you can turn to when you need to talk about all things stoma or colitis or Crohn's. So thank you very much for making that possible.
No, you've made it possible yourselves. It's actually freakish that you're all like he's met you and you're all like dead tight and
besties.
Oh man, I've seen it.
You mess with one is you mess with us all.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. Yep. Three Musketeers, all for one.
One for all.
No, and honestly, but what that shows is how important that shared experience is, and there's a real magic with that, isn't there?
100%.
I mean, don't get me wrong, there's 2 cracking lads. Do you know what I mean? They're brilliant. Yeah. They're totally different. They're funny in their own ways.
They are.
Oh, no, this is going publicly. Me actually praising them. Honestly, I love the 3 to bits.
Yeah.
But aye, it's beautiful to see.
It's so nice. It's honest to God. So whenever me, Kieran, Brandon, or Bethany are sitting together.
Oh, Bethany's well.
Yeah, Bethany. Yeah, whenever we're together, we have the best time, and we just got. It's so nice going out and nights out and being able to talk all things shit, and it's normal.
Aye.
And if the else is looking at you like you're the weirdos, but we're all like, no, this is actually empowering.
This
is liberating. You have no idea.
Stefanie Boyle, thank you so much for coming on GUTSY, and look forward to the next time.
Here goes. I can't wait. Sign me up for the next one.